we took a concerted effort to go out and find women who had backgrounds that could be qualified to become members of our cabinet. I went to a number of women's groups and said, can you help us find folks? And they brought us whole binders full of women. I was proud of the fact that after I staffed my cabinet and my senior staff, that the University of New York in Albany did a survey of all 50 states and concluded that mine had more women in senior leadership positions than any other state in America.
Well, that was Governor Mitt Romney last night responding to a question during the debate about equality in the workplace. As soon as he made that remark, a firestorm erupted on the internet. Social media users and others jumping at the chance to create news feeds full of jokes. One web-savvy guy creating a, quote, binders full of women Facebook page. It has more than 280,000 likes. And this Tumblr site went up pretty fast, with Dirty Dancing's Patrick Swayze declaring in a photo caption, "No one puts baby in a binder." And many Democrats are now running with this, trying to make this into a thing, into an issue in this campaign, the binders full of women comment. Joining me now is the woman whose job it was to recruit women to work for the then governor of Massachusetts, Mitt Romney, Lieutenant Governor Carrie Healey, the former Lieutenant Governor of Massachusetts under Governor Romney and now an advisor to the Romney campaign. Lieutenant Governor, great to see you.
Thank you.
Binders full of women, what does it mean?
Well, I spent many hours looking at the resumes in those binders, and I think it means that Mitt Romney had a commitment to making sure that women were properly represented in his administration, and he promotes women and mentors them. So to my mind, it's a good thing.
What do you make of this, that this is turning into a thing now, the fact that he said binders full of women?
Well, they tried to launch Big Bird, and I don't think that took off. So perhaps this is another attempt, but it's really just a distraction. We have so many serious problems in the country today, and women have so many serious problems now. More women living in poverty than at any other time in 17 years, and 500,000 more women living in poverty and unemployed since the beginning of the Obama administration. So there were many questions that we should have been talking about last night that were just left on the table. If I had to say anything about binders, I'd say that there was an empty binder there yesterday that should have been filled by Obama about his plans for the next administration.
What was he doing? I mean, just help us understand what was he trying to say? What does it mean? Like he was just looking for recruiting, he was looking for resumes of women? Because he was claiming that he made a commitment to fill his cabinet positions in Massachusetts with more than just men. He said most of the applicants were men, or most of the guys were, the candidates were men.
That's right. The backstory here is that a women's organization, a bipartisan women's organization, the Massachusetts Women's Political Caucus, came to both candidates in the race and said, if you're elected, will you promise to put as many women in your cabinet as there are a percentage of women in Massachusetts, which is about 50%. Mm-hmm. Both candidates said yes. And so when Governor Romney was elected, he set out to fulfill that promise. One thing you can know about Governor Romney is that when he makes a promise while he's campaigning, he's going to fulfill that promise. And so he
started. How did the numbers work out?
50%. And it was the highest in the nation. That's what was really extraordinary.
Were they menial roles?
Let's get right to our panel now. We're joined by the author Goldie Taylor and Crystal Ball, my colleague and the co-host of The Cycle here on MSNBC. And I have to begin, Crystal, by saying, I love you, binders! Okay, Mr. Romney's comment about binders has produced thousands of memes. There's even a website called bindersfullofwomen.com. You can click on that and learn how Mr. Romney appointed 19 judges in his first 2 years as governor of Massachusetts. 2 of them were women. I guess maybe he had binders full of women. He just didn't want them in his courts.
He browsed them. He at least considered them, but then they didn't actually get the job. Well, and the thing that's amazing is that even the anecdote about the binders full of women, it's not even true. He didn't go out and say, I really need more women. There was a women's group called Mass Gap, like Massachusetts Gap, who put together these lists of highly qualified women who were going to push whoever was elected governor to appoint more women, whether it was Romney or his opponent. So after he won the election, they gave it to to him. It's not like he went out looking for them. And I just can't understand. You can't even come up with one true anecdote about being truly pro-woman and seeking out women and valuing women in a professional capacity. It's unbelievable.
The answer is no. Goldie, Mr. Romney's choice of phrasing was as strange as ever. Stranger still, however, was Paul Ryan's explanation of what he meant. Take a listen to this, Goldie.
All he simply meant was that he went out of his way to try and recruit qualified women to serve in his administration when he was governor. That's really what he was saying.
So there you go, Goldie. That clears it all up. I mean, let's not dwell on the fact that Mr. Romney had no women partners when he was CEO of Bain Capital in the 80s and 90s, or that today only 4 out of 49 of the firm's managing directors in the buyout area are women. I guess, do they have binders at Bain Capital? Sure. I don't know.
Well, I imagine that they do, but I'm not sure that they're filled with women. It's amazing to me that Mitt Romney would say that he has some kind of propensity to give equal opportunity or afford greater opportunity to women. You know, when you look over the course of his 25 or 30-year business career, you look at what he did at Bain, you look at what he did at the Olympics, you look at some of the boards that he served on for Marriott Corporation, you look at, you know, what he did in the Massachusetts governor's office, and you know, precious few women. You know, he didn't have enough women in all of those years to fill, you know, a snap folder, let alone a binder. You know.
Say anything about binders, I'd say that there was an empty binder there yesterday that should have been filled by Obama about his plans for the next administration.
What was he doing?